We're back. That means it's time to get warm for another workout. We're going to start today off a little bit slower. We're going to pick up that pace, pick up that intensity, make sure that you are primed and can hit the ground running for your main event in their workout today. So to start things off, let's start with a nice wide stance, much wider than your traditional squat stance. We'll take hands up overhead, taking a slight back bend, and then reaching the hands back down between the legs, feeling a good stretch as you come up overhead through your core and the front side. Reaching the hands down between the legs, feeling a good stretch back behind your knees and in your hamstrings. Just slowly taking this back and forth from side to side or overhead and through. As we look at our warm-ups, much like we talk about through so many of this, is there's no magic in this particular warm-up. The piece that's important is just to make sure that you are moving prior to your workout. We don't want to hop right in. We want to make sure that you can make the most of the main event, the main portion of the workout. And by doing a little bit of this warm-up to start things off, that will allow you to make the most of those minutes that you spend in the main portion. So we'll take one more here overhead and all the way through. And keep our stance nice and wide, very similar to where it is already. Send the hips back and over to one side. This is our Cossack squat, where you feel a really good stretch to the inside of that straight leg. As we're going back and forth from side to side, whatever foot has all of the weight in it, we want to make sure that that heel is on the ground. It keeps us in a good position. Most importantly, it keeps your knee in a safe position, which is what we're all about here. Taking one more per side. All right, we're gonna bring those feet in a narrower stance, narrower than our traditional squat stance. A little bit of bend in the knees, going for our good mornings. Hands can either come up overhead, they can come onto the chest. Whatever feels good for you is good by me. As we work through this, you should feel some really good stretching back behind your knees, back up into the glutes. Even if you're really tight through your calves, you might feel it down low there as well. Taking one more. Now I'll face you here for this one. We're gonna find our squat stance. So those feet anywhere between the hip to shoulder width apart. We're gonna be placing our hands down underneath our toes, straight legs, so you feel a good stretch behind the knees here. And then we'll be pulling ourselves to the bottom of that squat. I like to use my elbows to press my knees out and then straightening those legs. Now, I am still working on my hip mobility, so I don't get that low. If you can get lower than I can, awesome. If you're a little bit higher than I am, no problem there as well. Just feeling this stretch all through the lower body. Really spending some time getting after our hips today. I find myself staring at the ground in the squatting position. When you do that, let's bring that gaze or that look up. It's gonna help keep your chest tall as well. We'll go one more. These get uncomfortable for me, so if you're uncomfortable here, that's okay. I am too. Let's bring the hands out to the side. We're making some nice tight arm circles forward. As we're doing that, the core is tight, the glutes are on, knees are locked out. We're in a very rigid position, making those circles a little bit bigger yet. We'll get that full range of motion, whatever that means for you. Taking a couple of those swings back and forth. I like to call these the Michael Phelps swings. You could call them pats on your back. Congratulations, you're getting after another workout. Whatever you want to call them is cool by me. We'll take those palms facing up top now. Pinching shoulder blades back together, making some tight circles in reverse. Make them a little bit bigger yet. Hitting that full range of motion. And again, taking those swings back and forth. Now we're gonna get into a hinged position. So think of a bent over row. Hinging our back towards the ground, we're gonna have our hands start right by our knees. And from there, we're gonna come out with the thumbs facing up into a Y. So from the front here, at that hinge position, trying to relax your neck. I know it's hard to do. We're trying to pinch shoulder blades back together the best you can. All right, we can stand on up, taking the left ear towards the left shoulder. Now as we're going through this, if you need extra stretch, we can use the hands, but this should not be hurting by any means. So be easy on that pull. Bring it over to the other side. And then we'll be tucking our chin to our chest, letting the head, the neck, and the shoulders all relax. Thinking of a ragdoll stretch if you're familiar with yoga. You can even interlock your hands if you'd like, or place your hands back behind your knees or your calves, giving some of that extra stretch. Tucking your chin to your chest, slowly rolling on back up. Go for 2 more of these. Tucking chin to chest, letting everything relax. Rolling up. Going for one final one, chin to chest. I'll be holding down here just a little bit longer. Now, I like to cross my arms, but whatever feels comfortable for you is just fine. And slowly rolling on up. Roll those shoulder blades back a little bit. Some of those movements we get really tight in the neck. We want to try to relax that. Just standing wherever you are. If you need a post or a wall for some additional balance, fantastic. If you got this with no assistance, even better. We're going to be taking our heel, pulling that nice and close to our butt. Just going back and forth, feeling a good stretch along the front side of the legs. Even though our warm-up today is not that intense, getting the good movement piece in before you start your workout is really important. So you should be feeling maybe a little bit of sweat on the brow, maybe not. I tend to sweat a little bit easier than most, so I am. But just looking to get that blood flowing. Now, same thought process. If you need the post, feel free. Need the wall, grab it. Be pulling our knee now up towards our chest. Each time trying to pull a little bit higher. Make sure you're breathing through these. Taking some breaths during your stretch is definitely helpful. I know sometimes we think, of course I have to breathe, but if you focus on your breath, it makes these warm-ups and specifically makes the movements in your workout feel a little bit better. Now we're going to be taking our foot, bringing it to the opposite side, pulling up, being gentle on that pull. This one takes a little bit more balance, so if you need to lean up against a wall, we can do that as well. But as we're going through this, for me, I'm feeling this on the outside of my hips, so just going back and forth on each side. Taking one more here on each side. All right, we're going to start back in that wide stance. We're going to be going through that Cossack squat that we started things off with today. Should feel a whole lot more loose and limber now as we go through this. You can kind of feel the difference after getting a little bit of movement in. All right, bring those feet on in to our squat stance. We're going to finish our warm-up off today with 10 squats. Don't worry about the speed, just finding your depth. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There is your warm-up. We've got the blood flowing, getting you set for your workout. Go enjoy it today. Push your pace, push the weights that you're using, make the most of the time that you're working out. As always, if you're doing the right stuff, results will always follow. So stick with your consistency. Enjoy this workout today.